There's no accidents, right? So we're going to first start on the mindset, because unless you really get the mindset behind making an offer, all the technicals in the world won't land. Then we'll get into, what is an offer? What does she mean by irresistible offers? And how do I make one? What are the exact steps? And then the second half of what we'll do is we'll talk about, what am I going to do? Make my offer on a street corner? Just yell it out to everyone? No, you've got to have a presentation that leads to it. So I will show you my exact formula. We call it the Speak to Sell Signature Talk formula, the exact formula that leads to your irresistible offer. And that's my goal today. And then, before I finish up, for those of you that actually want to create that, want to work with me, want to take it further, I'll have an invitation for you to do that. And I know a lot of you wanted pictures, and so we'll do that too. Thank you for being patient on that. I kind of learned if we start in on the pictures, Viki will be over here looking at her watch, right? And we'll never get going, so I really appreciate your partnership with that. I'm honored. I love taking pictures and getting that little hug that goes with it. Yeah. Okay, so when I say speaking, I know some people are like, I wanted to put it all in a book because I don't want to speak. Now, that's not everybody, but I just want to address, for those of you that wasn't your plan, or it seems like a far way off. So that whole world of speaking, usually when you say the word, it brings up some fear, because you're thinking about fee-paid speaking. Have to go out there, get a fancy video, sell yourself, get someone to pay you to speak. Well, I want you to know, I really don't know a lot about that. I'm not the person to teach you that. Although, I've been really blessed to make more money on stages than most speakers, and I do it, and I want to show you how to do it by speaking free. Not coming in to just have some immediate inspiration, right, or entertainment, but actually being able to have people step forward to say, I want to work with you because I would like a long and lasting transformation. Yes, I'd like to be in your 5-week telecourse that accompanies your book. Yes, I'd like to come out to your seminar that takes your book further. Yes, I would love some one-on-one coaching. I love what I learned in your book, and I want more. And that's what can happen with speaking free. And there's so much opportunity. And I see a lot of ladies in this room, so I will just say, ladies, it's the time for us to step up. Do you want to know one of the #1 calls I get because I teach Speak to Sell? Who are the hot women speakers? Do you have any up and coming? Who do you have? Who can hold the room? Who knows how to tell a story that makes a point? Who can see the back row, right? So they want to know that. Don't shoot the messenger. This is good news. Right? And you're in this room, you're unique, you have organized what you know to some degree, you're on the path to it, so you're already so far ahead of the game. Let me show you how it started out for me. So I found out that once I just organized my presentation, that there was unlimited opportunities. I wasn't asking people to pay me $5,000 to speak. I just had to show you that if you put me in front of your group, I'm not going to make you look bad. In fact, people will thank you for it, right? And that's really the point you have to get these free opportunities. There are actually more people looking for speakers for their meetup group, for their meeting, than there are people ready to speak. How's that for a little belief buster? Every time, if we had more time, I'd take a little survey of how many of you have something to do with booking people into rooms versus how many of you are ready, and you would see there were more people looking. So lesson #1, if you're ready, this is a build it and they will come kind of thing. Not like your website. You guys got that one. That means you're in the game. So when I was living in Tucson, Arizona, my then husband was going through fellowship to become a heart surgeon. So we did the 14-year path of medical school, residency fellowship, the whole thing. And I had a newborn and a 3-year-old, and I didn't know anybody in Tucson. So I would go out to small women's groups, business groups. One of the first people to give me a chance was the Arizona Business Association. I remember right where they were. Wasn't that many years ago. Usually these kind of groups would have about 30 people, and I would go in, and about 6 people who are not expecting to buy anything that day would say, yes, Lisa, I'll take your offer for $297 to have a 2-hour coaching call with you to see where you might be able to find an irresistible offer I could make in my business. They could see that that would be worth it for them. So I would go in, drop my kids at the Jewish Community Center around 10 a.m., be there at 11, set up, do a lunchtime talk. 6 people would say yes to my $297 offer. Right? I'd hang around, we'd take pictures, they would register for my not a program, it was 2 hours on the phone. I had no program. I had an AOL account, and you could give me a check or cash. That was it. And I would do, this would equate to $1,800. I mean, I'd leave, pick up the kids by 3, and go grocery shopping real quick. Finally had money, right? Pick up the kids, go home. The next day, spend it with the kids. The next day, deliver the coaching that I had sold, right? And then once a week, that was my goal, speak once a week. A lot of times, you know those rooms in the back of like the Olive Garden restaurant that have an accordion door? Like you can hear the restaurant? That was my home, those kind of rooms to speak in. And so this quickly added up though. I mean, if you take a look, and by the way, it was never once a month. It was never once a week. Like something would fall out, or it's like 2 times in 1 week, then nothing, then 1 time. So I'm averaging low here. So about 3 times per month. This was adding up. All of a sudden, I was making $5,400 a month, speaking less than once a week, delivering on the other days, spending the time with my kids. Before I knew it, I looked up, and I had a $65,000 a year base. Who here wouldn't mind a $65,000 a year base? Let me tell you, it made a difference. And now I had those people that I was talking to. Do you think some of them became clients on a bigger scale? Absolutely, all built in. And then what happens, just to give you a quick peek, is people will say, oh, could you speak over there? And I know this person. So I started getting, rooms just a little bit bigger. Still wasn't traveling anywhere. Still, about 10 people would say yes. I bumped my offer up from $297 to $497 because I recorded a few things, and I would give them my little recording package. It was just, there wasn't package. They would just get the MP3 link, so they could listen to 5 calls in advance. So I bumped the offer up. I got a little confidence. So now I'm making $500 times 10 sales. I'm making $5,000 per gig, right? I'm only doing about 2 gigs per month that size, and bam, my magic number as an entrepreneur. Does anyone else have this magic number? If I could just make $10,000 a month, oh, come on, this isn't my first rodeo. I dreamed about that for so long. And this was the path that got me there. And of course, it added up. Suddenly I'm seeing $120,000 a year base, being able to be the mom I want to be, and this is sending a steady stream of clients that also want to do more, right? Anybody here wouldn't mind $120,000 a year base? It was good. Really, for me, that was the extent of my vision board. I mean, I didn't have a vision board that went all the way up to an Inc. 500 company. There was to do this, so I was feeling pretty happy about that. And then the day came where my daughter turned 1, and I thought, okay, she's gonna live, so I'll name her. And, get on a plane, and I was asked to speak. You can see it was called Master Trainer Camp, and I flew to Santa Barbara. I don't know if any of you know Linda Welch. She's in our community here, ran this camp, and so excited that I was going to do a traveling gig, and I, afforded a nanny, and I went, and I got on that stage, and I didn't have any products. Anybody here, you don't really have a product to sell yet? Raise your hand so I can see where yeah, so I was in the same boat, just had my coaching, not even a certified coach. I had my advice, my expertise, my experience. You all have that. That's pretty much where I was. And I was writing an ebook. I was starting to write down what I knew, but it wasn't done yet. It was coming, and this was like July. It was coming in September. But they could have that if they bought the 1 hour or the 3 hours of advice. They got the ebook coming in September. That's how I boxed myself in to get it done. And in my hip pocket, I had an 8 to 10 session thing, because sometimes people would come up and want a little more. Well, I spoke at this thing. There were 60 people, so less than half of what's in this room right now. I was actually supposed to be, the funny part is, supposed to be in a breakout room. Like, they were going to divide 60 people by 5 breakout rooms. Anybody do the math on that? So I flew from Santa Barbara and found out, oh yeah, you're in a breakout room. I'm like, wow, okay. So this was the power of being ready with my presentation. I told the host, Linda, I said, look, I'm ready. And I thought it came with 60 order forms, like, I'm ready. If anybody doesn't make it up that treacherous hill, it was in Santa Barbara up in the mountains, just put me on. I'm ready. She's like, well, everybody's going to show up. Well, guess what? Second night after dinner, I got to be dessert. The guy didn't show, right? He didn't come, and I got to be on that big stage, that big 60-person main stage, and I made my offer. I think it was partly how excited I was, and bam, I made $10,000 in one talk, in 70 minutes. And that changed my life. That was a turning point. The energy running through me, I was like shaking, levitating. And what's crazy is I had to go back to it was a retreat center, so I had to go back to the cabin, and it was bunk beds, the metal kind. So I was in the speaker cabin, on the upstairs bunk above Suzanne Falter Barnes, for anyone who knows Suzanne, she was there. And I was like so excited, I couldn't stay still. And every time I moved, it would squeak. You know, so I'm laying up there trying to be quiet, and I'm going, oh my God, this has changed my life. This will change my family's life. This is, you know, how to, and you know, I finally get to calm down a little bit, start breathing, and it was like my father, by the way. Do I have a picture of him here? Yeah, this is my dad. This is Eddie Garson, and if he looks familiar, you may have actually seen him on the Ed Sullivan Show, because he was a world-famous ventriloquist. So yeah, this was Eddie Garson and Chico Chico, and he actually, with his speak to sell talk, his act, his presentation, everyone told him it wouldn't work. You can't sell that. You can't do that. You guys ever heard that before about what you do, right? Well, so he couldn't get an agent, but you know, he didn't want to have an Irish dummy with red hair and freckles. He's like an Orthodox Jewish guy in Miami Beach, so he decided to have a Latin Jewish dummy that kind of spoke with a broken accent and cracked Yiddish jokes. So that's Chico Chico. So he ended up getting kind of discovered by Xavier Cugat and ended up traveling the world 3 times, playing Radio City Music Hall in New York, the Moulin Rouge in Paris, Ed Sullivan twice. And he died a few years ago. People always say, I remember Eddie Garson. He died a few years ago. And you know, as he aged, anybody here besides me, you know, go through aging parents that say the same thing over and over a lot because, you know, they want to get the message. It's all out of love. Like, these are the 5 most important things that I really want you to get. And it's because of the courses I taught in this room, those Celebrating Men, Satisfying Women courses, that I knew that to listen to that it was important, you know? But I never really got it. And then I'm laying in bed there above Suzanne, you know, just made $10,000 in one talk. And I swear it was like the ghost of Christmas past, you know, but Jewish. You know, telling me, you know, one of those sayings, and I heard it for the first time ever. And this was my turning point. I want to give it to you from Eddie Garson because of where you are right now and what you're doing here. So what he said is, he said, Lisa, don't change your act, change your audience. Right? That's all I did. I took Dad's advice. I'm in the same act since 2009. I've done my same act in front of 13,000 people at a big stadium, you know, with Dan Rather and, you know, those big stadium events. And I do the same act when one of my own mastermind members or clients asked me to come speak for 12 women down the street in San Diego. And that has been the key to getting out there, to being on all those little TV station logos that you see. It's the key. It's the thing that you want to couple with your book, your message, your course, your coaching, your cause. And that one tool, that will solve your problem, Tracy, on what to do on your teleseminar. It's your act. It's your act. We call it your Speak to Sell signature talk. So you just need to have your irresistible offer and your talk that leads to it, and you're ready for everything that will come your way. And you're ready to attract all of that. That is how I've attracted all of the opportunities that have come our way and how we've become, you know, in 134 countries. Once you get your act down, it works in all languages. So don't change your act, change your audience. And it doesn't mean get a new ideal client. It means, you know, get your act down, get your offer and your talk down, and then just get it in front of as many audiences of your ideal client that you can find. That becomes your whole job. And you don't need to run around there like so many other entrepreneurs, you know, thinking you need to be here and there and doing like all this stuff like crazy. You just get your act and you wake up every day and you say, how can I get my act out in front of my ideal client audience? Where are they? How can I do that? Can I do it on a teleseminar, webinar, video, news, PBS? It sets you up for all those opportunities. You know, who's the people being run over and over on PBS? I showed them to you. J.J. Virgin, Daniel Amen and Tana Amen, the brain doctor and his wife. Everybody else is so worried about the show. They worked with me on the irresistible offer and the presentation. They worked on the 15-minute pitch pledge drive. The rest of the shows run one time and you never see them again. Their shows have an offer and you see them over and over and over again. You guys getting it? You're a little more interested now in that irresistible offer? And your offer is whatever action you want them to take. It could be taking them into your office. You know, maybe like, I can't hand out an order form. I'm a doctor. I'm a lawyer. My clients are affluent. I mean, whatever you think makes you the exception, I promise you, we've worked with everyone from grain elevators to animal communicators. It works for all of us. Heart-centered service professionals. I'm talking to us. So, let's talk about the mindset behind making an irresistible offer. Let's dive right in. Why should we make an offer? I'm here today to help you get it in your bones that it is a disservice not to. That to be out there inspiring, open people's mind, opening possibility, and not making your offer is a disservice. They came to buy from you. They want transformation. It's your moral obligation to give them what they need, to say yes. Yes to an appointment, get a credit card out, yes to a new program, yes to the body they want, yes to the relationship they want, yes to the health that they want, yes to the abundance that they want. You plug in what you do. Now here's the other side of this equation that people don't talk about, and I kind of have to do a little don't shoot the messenger here, because it's not the best news, like you might have a painful moment, but there's you can turn it around just by the awareness. So what happens when we're out there, whether it's our book, our talk, whatever we're doing, and we don't tack an offer on to the end, is that we open the world of possibility, and then we walk away, and we just did all the heavy lifting for who? Someone else. Generally, our competition, right? So, that is why I know I can see it in this room. I can feel your level of expertise. There are 20-year veterans here, right? Nod your head if you know one. And there's 20-year veterans here